just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at PAHLincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive. Always honest answers.
Ryan, with all this red and all these people around, I'm still not seeing the tailgate.
Todd Spidell, former body shop owner, terrible driver.
We're getting close. Now, did you know with 3 locations in Lincoln and hundreds of years of combined technician experience, we can get Husker fans back on the road even quicker and safer after the tailgate missteps. Oh, Todd, turn left right here.
Left or right?
Left, right here.
Right?
Well, you wait for the tow truck. I'm getting a hot dog.
Well, I guess while I'm waiting. All right, most recommended Eustace Body Shop.
Dude, you should be on American Idol.
You really think so?
No.
Accidents happen, even to Husker fans. If I can see you, call Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Chevrolet GMC, and the holiday sales event is now underway with unbelievably low interest rates and huge discounts on both new and pre-owned inventory. Right now, we're offering 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. These are the absolute biggest discounts of the year. You heard right, 0% interest rate or $13,000 off select new models. So please stop on in and check it out online at CowboyCars.com. All deals with the trade at Costco.
Load up on meat and more this winter at Mercado by Certified Montes. This week's special through December 17th is 15% off all wine and spirits and 25% off on non-beers. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland. Middle school basketball coaching legend and new basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NIPCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
It's a Thirsty Thursday edition of the show.
You know it.
I'm Austin Norman. He's Eric Strickland. We are the On the Block crew. Weekly 2 to 4 weekdays brought to you by NIPCO. They're looking for mechanics for their constructors brand, for CDL drivers, their ready-mix concrete brand. And we are looking for you and your thoughts all show long. 402-464-5685. Stricky, I need to apologize. Topic Tongue is your thing.
No,
we got to skip today.
We got to skip. There's a lot of other stuff going on. This is stuff going on today. I get it. I know it's not. I know it's not, my boy. I am with you all the way. There's a lot going on out there in this space. Also, tune in tomorrow. We're going to have one of our special guests come in. We're going to bring back another episode of Fit Talk Friday. We're going to have the Warnock from A1 Automotive coming in. And it'll be an interesting correlation between the body and the body, the auto body and the physical body. So we're gonna break that down. So stay tuned with us tomorrow. Kendall Warnock will be joining us about 2:45 tomorrow on Fit Talk Friday. Look forward to having him. Shout out to A1 Automotive.
If you were an automobile, what automobile would you describe yourself as?
Ah, good one. I would have to say a muscle car.
Specifically, what kind of muscle car?
Like, I want to say like the old school big body Mustang.
Ooh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Just it's got a bulldog mentality to it. It shows up like, ooh, I like that. You know, and it's not sexy, but it's power. Yeah.
I like it.
What about you?
Well, see, I was going to think for you. Thanks, Ricky. Thanks. Wow. Be our people.
Joke.
Be our people sometimes.
Eric was.
I need to walk out.
If Eric was listening, you know what he would say, right? Pause.
How am I supposed to come back to
I
that?
had to do it for Eric's sake. I knew he would do that. All right, what's up?
I was going to think for you because I picture your playing
Like
style.
a Mustang. Big body. Okay, go ahead.
Does the ladies tell you?
No, I'm. You know what? There's a movie out there, and if you haven't seen it, I think it's hilarious. It's one of those. Yeah, you know how you have those like some people love like Friends or Seinfeld, and some don't, because the humor in it is kind of just you have to really be different to catch the humor in some of them, right? And there's this movie, man, and when you said that, it's called The Ladies' Man. And I had my little Cavassier, and I love the ladies. The man is hilarious, and it is a freaking. I think it's a funny movie to me, but some may not think it's funny. But I would be like him, The Ladies' Man.
Respect.
Yeah.
See, I like where you're going with the muscle car because I think of you as like bulldog getting downhill, but you're not a pickup truck, right?
Yeah.
You're a car. You're maneuverable. You're still a dart. So yeah, muscle car makes sense.
Yeah, that's the picture I saw.
Yeah. Apparently, I'm a Ford Pinto.
No,
so
I think you're a big body Cadillac.
Nah, I'm a Toyota Camry. I'm a Kia Optima. I'm a four-door sedan.
You're gonna work it out. You're gonna go for a long haul, boss.
Aim for the long haul.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the job.
That's a fact.
That's
you.
What
are you?
That's what we got.
What we got?
See here. John Portland says Off 302. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Sebastian, aka 12U Finger King, says Stricky, you're a Chevelle.
Negative. Tell me, I need to understand where you got that one from, Chevelle. That's just because I made a joke on you. That's gotta be a joke. There's no way I'm a Chevelle.
6785 says Strick is a Hellcat Charger.
That could fit in that category. That could fit in that. Have you ever watched the videos on YouTube? There's a guy that does videos on YouTube where sometimes he'll show like I think it's a Hiace or something like that. Or he'll show different cars, like Scat Packs, where the police will pull up on them, and they'll just shoot off, and they'll be gone. And then poor police. I mean, they got some power, but sometimes they just take off and they just be gone. But that's how I would be. I'm kind of like that.
I feel. While we're on this topic, we have a few minutes here. Let's play a fun game of Strick compares his former teammates to cars. Dirk Nowitzki. What kind of car is Dirk?
Bronco. Tough, hard-nosed, not necessarily utility, but yet got some oomph to him. Yeah, Bronco.
That's your balls.
He's kind of slithery, so I used to call him the little worm because he reminded me of Robin, but he was still kind of silky a little bit. So Sid, I would say Sid would be like that's a good one. Oh shoot, a silky. Give me a thought on something that's like an accurate TL.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Antoine Walker.
Antoine Walker, big chunky. Antoine Walker's like an F-150. He's like he can carry a load, yet he's manageable. He's got some capacities. Can go 2-wheel, 4-wheel drive. Yeah, can go into the deep pause. Deep water for shots. Going to the be rough and rugged in the rough land, but also smooth on the road. Yeah.
Paul Pierce?
P. Diddy.
Pause. Come on. Come on, Stricky. You called me a
No. Rewind. No, not that. Let's see. The truth. So for me, he would be like a Mercedes Maybach. Because he's smooth. The Maybachs can get there with speed and all of that, but it's meant for just laid back luxury.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Eric Pike.
Pike, he would be like that's a good one. I think Pike would be like Pike is like a smooth criminal. Like you don't even see him coming. I would say like a Lexus. Lexus 350. Not the big body, just the one that's like just below that. The 3 something. The 3 because it's smooth, but it's not like when you see it, you're like, ooh, smooth. It's like, ooh, it's like that's nice. But he can get you.
I get you.
You know what I'm saying?
One more. Mike Moore.
Oh wow. Mikey's like a what's the nice smooth looking Mercury? Gosh darn it, it's a Mercury. It's made by Lincoln. It's like a Lincoln. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just a Lincoln Navigator.
Nice.
Solid block shots. Protect you. Looks good. Gets the job done. Yeah. Lincoln Navigator.
Got quite a few texts on this. John Orland follows up and says a Boss 302 Mustang. And he also says I have Subaru written all over me.
Okay. I think you would be like a Fiat.
Hello.
It's a smooth criminal car. Okay. Kind of low key. He pops up every now and then. If you walk into the room, you're not going to really like notice him, but you will notice him. But he's cool when you get to know him. So a lot of people may not necessarily go pick up a when they drive one. This is cool. Awesome, Norman.
Latex Knowledge says you're a Ford Bronco waiting for a high-speed chase with a little dude.
Who?
I don't know.
Oh, he is?
Apparently.
Okay.
David from News says he definitely saw Antoine Walker in a past life. Probably heard of Mr. Antoine Walker. 5284 says Strick was spot on the first time about ball beers. 9209 says Leon Phelps made me want to buy a houseboat.
Leon Phelps! Yeah. Yes! I'm telling you, man. That's my guy, ladies, man.
Sebastian follows up and says a classic, stealthy, strong, no-nonsense Chevelle for you, Stricky.
I need to look up a Chevelle again. That's old school.
Willie says Stricky is a glossy black 68 Camaro.
Oh, okay. Oh, Chevelle. Okay. It's kind of the same type of, you know. Yeah. Yeah, the old Chevy Chevelle. Okay, 69. I see you, boss. Yeah. Okay. Did you see what a Chevelle looks like?
Oh, look up quick.
Look at it real quick. No, I get where you're going now, my guy. I'm rolling.
Okay, yeah, we're getting there.
I'm rolling. Yeah.
Cubster says, if I was a car, I'd be the one always up on the blocks and the owner saying, I'll get around to fixing it eventually.
Just sitting on the rack.
I get it.
The rack, just sitting on the rack throughout all the holidays.
MP West asks us to follow up. To be more specific, are you guys a white Ford Bronco? Negative Ghost Rider.
On that one, I won't be saying, gotcha. Not on that one. We pass on that.
Let's see. Eric says, no, Strick is a Cadillac. Smooth. A 67 convertible for Stricky.
Okay.
And 7449 says, I'm learning Stricky doesn't know cars.
I'm not a big car like that. I mean, even myself, like I look at a car for practicality purposes. Like I mean, I've driven nice cars.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like now, I told you that story, Austin, and ever since then, I've been tainted as far as cars are concerned. It becomes very practical. I want to know which ones I can drive to where the wheels fall off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're
down on video. We're getting figured out.
Okay.
We're working on it. So
I've got to say that part, like ever since I felt like I got shafted by getting that, 740 big body V12. And when I tried to trade it in a year later, I'm talking 40 grand. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, I just bought this. Like, it didn't even have 30,000 miles on it. And I was like, oh yeah. Now I did learn that there are cars that do hold value.
Yeah.
Depending on, the miles. There's a difference between the BMW and the Mercedes. The Mercedes will probably hold more value longer than the BMW.
Mm-hmm.
Your Lexuses will hold value.
Mm-hmm.
Acuras hold value.
Mm-hmm.
So the premium models of the Toyotas and the Hondas, they hold value. And Hondas hold value is because you can drive them forever. As long as you take care of them, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow with A1 Automotive and Kendall Warnock, stuff like that, they hold their value a little bit better.
Eric and Cubster both give you a pause for something you just said right there. I'm not going to repeat it. You'll just have to think about what you did. Big Hoss says Austin is a 1972 Volkswagen Beetle and Strick is a 1962 Roadrunner.
Okay.
I can see you being like Roadrunner from Looney Tunes too. Meep, 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 meep.
He was fun.
Which makes Ray Allen your Wile E. Coyote.
That was who it was that was chasing him all the time.
Yeah.
The coyote.
Yeah.
Who was the one? Oh, he was chasing Bugs Bunny. The one Yosemite Sam.
Oh, Yosemite Sam. Yeah.
Was he chasing Bugs Bunny?
Yeah.
He was always chasing Bugs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love how Bugs and all those guys used to get him. And poor Wile E. Coyote. He just couldn't get right.
Now.
Poor thing.
Or Elmer Fudd.
Elmer
Fudd is the other one. Yeah. Sebastian says Austin is a lower 96 Volkswagen Jetta with a lifted rear spoiler. We're getting there. 4884 says, I'm like my Toyota Corolla, not sexy, but dependable.
You know what I mean?
Respect. Yeah, same. Preach, 4884.
Respect.
What kind of car is Bill Belichick at North Carolina?
Bill Belichick
at North Carolina specifically.
He's quite. You know what? A Honda Odyssey. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna take you on the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna win on the way. You ain't gonna look sexy. You're gonna be real quiet. You're gonna get there. You're not gonna have a whole bunch of problems.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll arrive at your destination safely.
5 years, $50 million for Bill Belichick. Not $50 million a year like Juan Soto is getting from the New York Mets, but essentially $10 million per year. Stricky, when you look at this, what needs to happen for Bill Belichick? What needs to happen for North Carolina for you to say this is a successful move for both sides?
So this is an interesting move. This is one that I didn't see coming, but I could understand. Like Bill Belichick's girlfriend is quite
24
young.
years old.
Quite young.
She is 1/3 his age.
Quite young.
It's a problem.
So I look at it from the same way that she probably invigorates him. Pause.
Bruh.
To, keeps him young, youthful, vibrant, all of that. And I look at this as maybe like some form of a resurgence in that type of energy into the career path. I'm telling you, man, listen, he's that age, but I mean, he seems to have the energy for it now. Now, I don't think he has the energy for the recruiting part. It looks like they probably going to give him some good NIL to work off of.
Yeah.
But the question then becomes, Austin, do you have faith in his hiring, in the people that he will bring along? That's going to be the thing, to me, that's going to make it good. Now, you're in the ACC. To me, it's open.
Yes, wide.
I think it's open.
Mm-hmm.
You bring a defensive-minded team reminiscent of the old defensive teams that we talked about, here on the block, that had those Julius Peppers and those type of defenses back in the day.
Lawrence Taylor.
Though, you know what I mean? You go, if you can bring that back in the ACC, find you a good quarterback, and what quarterback would not want to be underneath a Bill Belichick, who helped, with one of the greatest of all time. Okay.
Right.
And again, if you don't even feel that he did anything for Tom Brady, you at least know that there was a connection to it. So there's going to be some that say, well, he didn't really make Tom Brady, blah, blah. There's going to be some of those people that say that. And then there's some that's going to say, well, what do you mean? They were together in this process, right? Him, the defense, and then, what Tom brought on the offensive side, there was a good marriage there. So you got to figure, that's the question I asked. Do you feel in his hiring that he will be able to bring in the right staff? You have to ask around, and I ask, do you think he's easy to work for? Do you think he's put out a tree like others that, when you look around the landscape of coaching, do you feel that he's put out a good tree? That he can breed that type of leadership in this time, this late tenure, in a totally different form that he hadn't been acclimated to in a long time.
Well, at least recently, his hiring tree hasn't been nearly as good as Nick Saban's, right? You think of Joe Judge, you think of Matt Patricia, you think of Josh McDaniels, not guys that have had high-level success in the NFL, sticking around, hanging around the league to be sure. Joe Judge was a senior analyst at Ole Miss, I believe it was this year. But, Strick, I really don't know if I have confidence in Belichick to do that, but will it make a difference in college, right? It's one thing in the NFL, it's a completely different game in college. I think you're right. I think you're onto something. What it'll come down to is just how much tolerance does Bill Belichick have for recruiting and just the little things that eat at a college coach, right? Obviously, everywhere's talking about this, putting out articles on it. Something that I found kind of backwards and kind of nuts from Bill Belichick is just kind of where his mindset is at. But it makes sense coming from the NFL, right? Of course, he's talked to plenty of people. He's talked to Nick Saban. He's talked to Bill O'Brien. He's talked to Kirk Ferentz, of all people, 3 guys in college that he's pretty close with. A source with knowledge of his thinking, according to ESPN, says Bill Belichick is thinking, I'll go be the highest draw in college football and we'll have the greatest coach in the ACC. Instead of you guys who don't want me anymore because there are people who don't deserve to be empowered, everyone is running away from college football. I think Bill thinks this landscape is better for him, more transactional and less relational. In his mind, this is better for me. I don't know if I can get on board with that. Yes, there are more and more transactions in college football. Yes, there are plenty of guys who go in the transfer portal because of the bag, because of the money. But Strick, what do we hear from every college coach? Recruiting starts with relationships, and it ends with relationships. The transactional part helps or hinders in some cases, but it's about the relationship. Guys are going to want to come play for you, Bill Belichick, more than they're going to want to come play for North Carolina. You can't escape the relationship. But to be fair, it's a different sort of relationship because the ESPN article goes on. Belichick told a confidant within the past week that he's, quote, tired of the stupidness of the NFL. Brother, college football is plenty stupid. He's tired of the NFL politics. Let's see here. Unlike Brady, Belichick has always embraced his darker side with actions more than words and made no secret of his grievances. He turned the post-game handshake into a spectator sport. He seethed at the piousness around the league after Spygate. After Deflategate, he walked out of a league meeting when Commissioner Roger Goodell spoke. And then after his unquestioned greatness was suddenly questioned and became talk show fodder for 2 years, he watched owners display abject indifference to his services, right? 7 interviews, only the Falcons had him back twice. 1 team out of 7. That a different confidant says he's disgusted with the NFL. Well, here's the thing. College football is just as political. College football is just as much who you know, not necessarily what you know.
Yeah.
On the one hand, I think this has already worked for Bill Belichick, because what is he doing? He's saying, screw you, NFL. You don't want me. I'll take my ball and I'll go play in my own court. That's what I'll do. So in that case, Bill Belichick's already won. I think North Carolina's won too. Yeah, they've been better in recent years, right? Think about Sam Howell. Think about Drake May, guys like that. They've passed through the program. Josh Downs. It's not been a bad program, not been a terrible program. But strictly, it's a basketball school, right? It's
That's what I was going to say.
To its core. So
that's what
regardless of how Bill Belichick's 5 years go, that's what he's under contract for. Regardless of how these 5 years go, Strick, I think both sides have already won. Belichick gets to give the NFL the screw you. Carolina says, hey, you're talking about us. We've won.
I have to agree with you, Austin. I look at it from a standpoint that you're going to a basketball school, and his way of doing things and demeanor, I think it fits. I think it fits for him. It's not like he's going to a perennial powerhouse of a football school to where all of the eyes are on him. The eyes are going to be on you, but it's not going to be to the tune of that. And then, like I was saying, if you can raise the level of play there at North Carolina and put it on, a good scale in the ACC, and to be competing and vying for opportunities out of the ACC into the playoff, his 5 years will be a good 5 years. He'll do well, and then he'll hopefully cede it to somebody that he thinks can continue to carry that on and then create that legacy he's looking for.
Indeed. Very interesting stuff. We will certainly see how it goes for Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels. We'll go to break. When we get back, interesting letter, Strick, out of a University of Michigan walk-on, writing a letter to the judge in the House versus NCAA case, asking for a tapering of rosters instead of a hard cut. Would that benefit Nebraska? Would it benefit college football? We'll talk about that and then get into Matt Rhule, what he had to say today. John Butler as well, in hour 2 of On the Block.
Follow Austin, Strick, and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
League One Volleyball is coming to Omaha this January. Featuring Olympic medalist Jordan Larson and Justine Wong-Arantes, Love Omaha Volleyball is Omaha's newest pro team. The inaugural season will showcase some of the world's best volleyball players, from medalists to NCAA champions and international superstars, with the action kicking off on January 24th at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Visit LOVB.com for more information and to purchase tickets. Volleyball is the next major league. The Mill Coffee and Tea, formerly with only 4 Lincoln locations, now 5 Lincoln locations. That's 25% more locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? That feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11th, located right alongside the 93.7 The Ticket Studios on O Street.
Ryan, with all this red and all these people around, I'm still not seeing the tailgate.
Todd Spidell, former body shop owner, terrible driver.
We're getting close. Now, did you know with 3 locations in Lincoln and hundreds of years of combined technician experience, we can get Husker fans back on the road even quicker and safer after their tailgate mishaps? Oh, Todd, turn left right here.
Left or right?
Left, right here.
Right?
Well, you wait for the tow truck. I'm getting a hot dog.
Well, I guess while I'm waiting. All right! Most recommended! Eustace Body Shop!
Woohoo! Dude, you should be on American Idol.
You really think so?
No.
Accidents happen, even to Husker fans. If it happens to you, call Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
The Huskers are headed to the Pinstripe Bowl. Cheer on the Huskers in New York City on the official Husker Pinstripe Bowl tour offered by the Nebraska Alumni Association. Your bowl package includes a 2-night hotel stay, round-trip transportation on game day, pregame events, and more. Spots are limited, so book your spot now on the official Husker Pinstripe Bowl tour with the Nebraska Alumni Association. Go to HuskerFanTravel.com or call 888-831-0858. That's 888-831-0858 or HuskerFanTravel.com.
The electrical workers of local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the holiday sales event is now underway with unbelievably low interest rates and huge discounts on both our new and pre-owned inventory. Right now, we're offering 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. These are the absolute biggest discounts of the year. You heard right, 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. So please stop on in or check us out online at CoppelCars.com. All deals with approved credit must trade in Costco.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
At Midwest Bank, they want to thank all the generous donors who helped make their 2024 Turkey Drive for Schools a success. Thanks to the generosity, they raised enough money to provide 153 families across 6 different schools in Lincoln with a full Thanksgiving meal. With your support, they made Thanksgiving Day for those families a little brighter. They want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. And Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to On the Block. Austin Norman, Eric Strickland with you. Thanks to everyone who chimed in on our Starter Human Jewelers text line in that first segment. Appreciate your thoughts on which car Stricky and I would be, as well as Bill Belichick. He's in North Carolina. Going to be fascinating to watch, see what that does to the power dynamics in the ACC. But we turn our attention now to just a kind of big picture college football topic that I think is plenty relevant here in Nebraska as well. So Judge Claudia Wilken is the one who's been ruling over the House versus NCAA case settlement. That's the one that we've spent a lot of time talking about. We won't give you all the details here, but Strick, this young student athlete from Michigan writes a letter to Judge Wilken asking her to not make the cut down to 105 players a hard transition. He's asking for the sake of walk-ons like him and guys that are, maybe down the roster, maybe on scholarship, maybe not. Can there be a tapering down? Doesn't lay out a bunch of specifics or ideas, but I think that's a wise thing.
You mean just not a hard cut, like
not from 150 to 105.
Incremental.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe it takes 2 years, maybe it takes 3 years. I don't know. But I think that would think about the athletes that are in high school right now, Strick. The ones that don't know what their recruiting future holds, right? The ones that have been used to college football programs carrying 120 guys. The guys that, have to decide, do I walk on at Nebraska or do I accept a scholarship to an FCS school, right? Guys that are at that kind of level need time to make their decisions, right? Maybe a guy was a no doubt scholarship guy, but a developmental project, a guy that would be stashed on a roster for a couple of years till he was physically ready or learned the skills, whatever it might be. I can understand it both ways, Strick. I think there's a lot of good in tapering down, right? Make it easier for coaches to adjust, get rid of, 15 players this year, 10 players the year after that, and then 20 players there. You're down from 150 to 105, for example. But there might also be benefit in just ripping the Band-Aid off. Yeah, it's going to suck. Yeah, it's going to hurt. Yeah, it's going to be a big headache this year, but it might be easier moving forward with, instead of dealing with, an incremental cut here, an incremental cut there. Let's just get it all out of the way now. Go straight down to 105 from wherever a program finds itself at now. Where are you out that? Do you prefer the tapering or ripping the Band-Aid off?
I think the way that it's coming down, the way that it's all coming down now, there's understanding that we were going here. I just think it could create a form of chaos if you drop that number, and you would have to ask the question, are other programs in smaller divisions, are they ready to receive? Mm-hmm. Do they even have financial stabilities to be able to handle an influx of players probably being dropped into their lap? I think the killing of the dream, because it's possible that if you do incrementally drop it down, it's very possible, because we've seen that there have been walk-ons that have emerged that have come out of a year of being a walk-on, and then all of a sudden they show up and they're like, you're like, wait a minute. You have stories like that. Just look up at Wisconsin, look at the Watt, the older Watt, JJ.
Yeah.
Just you have one of the best interior linemen, as well as an end. Mm-hmm. One of the best that you can arguably say top 10, mm-hmm. 15, whatever. Mm-hmm. So he was a walk-on. So I'm saying that I wouldn't like to see that hard cut because I really do believe that it's possible if you incrementally drop it down, maybe a walk-on or two could emerge, move up, get more tape, have more discussions, and then let those other programs ready themselves in preparation for the fallout.
Right. Let's see here. Jesse says, think about the trickle down to the Division III and NAIA. Some of those kids won't even get to play anymore. See, that's interesting to me, Strick. That's really interesting because on the one hand, yes, there are going to be kids that lose opportunities, and that's unfortunate. Whether it's the Division I level, Power 5, Group of 5, FCS, if it's down to Division II, Division III, NAIA as well. Yes, there are going to be guys that lose opportunity, and that is an unfortunate casualty. And I'm not what I say next is not meant to be a but think about this. It's an and. I still think, generally speaking, those lower levels are still going to benefit from this because think about the potentially higher caliber athletes that don't have a spot for them a level up, so they go a level down. That should hypothetically raise the standard of play. Right? If you have a Division II guy playing Division III, guess what? Maybe he was going to transfer the next year anyways. If he started at D3 to go up to D2, he's capable at that level. So what I can't assume is going to happen. What I would guess would happen would be that if you're in the bottom 20 or 30% of Division III or NAIA players right now, those spots are probably just going to go to guys that'll have to drop down from Division II. If you're in the bottom 20 or 30% of Division II, you're taking that 20 or 30% from Division III. If you're in the bottom 20 or 30% of FCS, you're probably going down to Division II, and same from Power 5 to Group of 5 to FCS. That's what I think is going to happen. Is it unfortunate that those guys lose their spots? Absolutely. We should want more access. We should want more spots for young men, young women to chase their athletic dreams, right? That's what it's about. It's about opportunity and giving them places to play. But also, if college sports are getting more and more professionalized, guess what? It's a business. You might have been good enough back in the day to earn a spot on a roster. Guess what? The standards changed. The standards elevated now. That, to me, should give high school athletes something more to work toward. Maybe a previous level of work wouldn't cut it. Now you got to go above and beyond, even just a little bit more. Is that too harsh?
No, let me add on to that. I just want to, again, add on to that layer of that cake that you just baked. And so here's the add-on for me. And here's the question. You're going to have to, as a player, and I there's a part of me, and listen, follow me now. There's a part of me that feels that in some way this is a what's the word I'm looking for? Is a way to curb some of the craziness of the NIL situation. Here's why. There's 105 people. Think about it. Let me give it to you from the NBA perspective. Every year, there are 2 drafts of people that are coming in. So you need to make sure that your level and your value is maintained, because otherwise you could be out the door. When you're talking about that number, there's not a large swath that's spread out as much as it used to be. Mm-hmm. That means those numbers shrink. That means there's players coming behind you. That means you're going to have to continue to earn and have to show and prove that you are him, whether it not be it on campus or whatever. They're not just going to be able to bring guys in just to have a stockpile of guys. They're going to have to be mindful of not only how they're spending their money, their NIL money, to whom it goes to, so forth and so on. But I think it's going to minimize them putting as much out on the lower versions because they're going to want to make sure they get there, but they're going to have to earn their get there.
Yeah.
Because you just, if you don't show and prove, there's only 105 slots. There's somebody coming next year. If you don't want to step up your game, work on your craft, get better, you could be in the but getting in the transfer portal don't necessarily mean you're going to be able to go to.
It's even more risky now, right?
That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. You can elaborate. You can spin on it if you want to. Go ahead. Pause.
I want to get to Tommy on the text line. He says the young man has a great point. The players that are getting punished right now are the juniors and senior walk-on players. I think 3 years of tapering would be perfect with no new walk-on players. Here's the thing. We don't know how many scholarships are going to be available. All we know is that the rosters are going to be at 105. Maybe some schools will offer 105 scholarships. That's pricey, right? That's essentially adding 20 more scholarships on top of what you're already allowed right now with the 85. Some schools will probably stick at 85 scholarships. So they do still have walk-on spots. It's just 20 of them. And it's the 20 best walk-ons, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's going to be. I doubt we get more than half of the programs in Division I FBS football offering 105. I bet most stick in the 80 range, but you won't be able to offer less than 85. If you do already, you're behind. Imagine how much further you're going to fall behind. And then you add revenue sharing in on top of that, right? I don't think that walk-ons are going away. I think it's just going to look different. And maybe it'll be reduced. It'll probably be reduced. I mean, it has to be just by the numbers. But I think, again, it'll just go to identifying, do we have the right walk-ons in our program instead of just take walk-ons to have walk-ons and see who ends up developing. And then Scott and Lincoln says they ripped the Band-Aid off definitely with NIL. We all see how much of a disaster that's been. They should have figured out a way to use a progression to get to where they're at. Maybe they need to do that with getting the numbers to the 105. Appreciate that, Scott, Tommy, Jesse here on the text line. All we know right now is that college football wants to get down to 105. That's kind of the working number. As of now, coaches are operating under the assumption that they'll have to get down to 105 by next fall. But again, Strick, this is where the legal process taking some time to play out has college coaches in a bind. They don't know for a fact right now that they have to get down to 105, is my understanding of it. That's just their working assumption. That's the way things are trending. That's kind of become the talking point. Judge Wilkin could still, I assume, say, hey, guess what? We'll give you 3 years to get down to 105. But by this time next year, by fall camp next year, you got to break with no more than 130. By fall camp in 2 years, you can't have any more than 115. And then come fall camp of 2028, 105. That's what it's going to be. My assumption and understanding is there's still time to do that. But again, the settlement is coming down in March. That's the timeline right now. If coaches know that they can still carry 130 in March, that would change so much of how they approach the transfer portal and recruiting right now. It's a tough time to be a college coach and managing a roster.
Yeah, because it's like, this is why I've got to commend Belichick, because
coming in right now, whoo, boy,
you're being dumped into a whirlwind of just a bunch of adjustments, changes, and rearranges in the college landscape of how you're coaching the game. So, yeah, I think that they need to get on it, though. I think they need to get. I think while everybody is getting together, especially during these playoffs and so forth, start having conversations, start talking it up, start figuring it out, start discussing it, start, hey, what makes more sense, and really start, putting it out there. But I'm okay with the young man. Definitely, I like the incremental as opposed to the hard drop. Because guess what? Like, think about it, right? If you've ever been to an amusement park, the hard drop causes a woozy stomach.
Oh, yeah. I've lost my lunch multiple times.
You know what I mean? The hard drop causes a woozy stomach. If you have, you've gone on the kiddie ride, you're going to be doing that soon with little Husker, little Beckett, little Herbie. And those kiddie drops are a little bit easier on the stomach than them hard drops. And them hard spins and them hard loops, and you know what I mean? That's what it feels like is going on right now. And so I don't mind the incremental drop.
One last thing from Jesse. Do you guys think eventually Nebraska will have an influence on a lower level school and get coaches there that run the same system and then send recruits for a year or two then to transfer to Nebraska, kind of like a minor league affiliate?
If you're smart,
so
you're looking up South Dakota. If you're smart, you're looking up in North Dakota. If you're smart, I'm tying into them. Go ahead.
Yes. My guess is schools get there. I think Nebraska right now would have pretty good access to a South Dakota State. But guess what? Nebraska has also already had access to a great junior college program at Iowa Western that it hasn't utilized. So do I trust Nebraska to do that early? Right now,
and they've been good too.
They've been super
good.
The
Reavers.
Yes. It's an incredible junior college. Coach Strohmeyer's rolling. They're incredible. And Nebraska hasn't dipped them. Maybe Nebraska's evaluating, say, no, they can't help us. In which case, okay, you evaluate, fine. I just don't know that to be the case. So do I think it's going to get there? Yes, but here's the other part of that, Strick. How can you make sure that you're running the same system? Think about how often coaches turn over now, right?
Yeah.
If you are sure that a coach is going to be in place for 5-10 years, you can build out that infrastructure. But then you have to keep everything the same at your school. And what does that do to a South Dakota State or a North Dakota State? Proud football traditions. Sam Houston State, Montana State that are rolling right now. James Madison before it made the jump, right? Those schools won't want to be treated like feeder programs. There will be some that say, this is the way for us to survive. We'll cash our check from them. We'll get coaching. We'll get training. We'll get resources from them. That's how we stay afloat. But I can see a South Dakota State or a North Dakota State saying, who do you think you are? We have something good rolling here. We're good enough on our own.
And we'll come down to Lincoln and get you.
We went to Iowa City and did it. We went to the Twin Cities and did it. There's not really the financial incentive right now for those schools to be the feeder program. Easy to say from the top down, but from bottom up, I think there'd be a lot of pushback.
Gotcha. No need to respond. Great rebuttal.
You're going to have to respond in the shootout, Stricky.
No.
It's Thursday. We're going to wrap up hour one with the shootout with Strick. We need a caller at 402-464-5685. 4 questions for Stricky, 4 for you. Beat him, you get $30 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. We'll play the game show next.
Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
For your next big opportunity, Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to
Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 89-cent boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.29 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today at 68th and O or in Williamsburg Village.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland. Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America, on air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NIPCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Oh, we are so back. We are so back. Consider yourself lucky to see our beautiful face. Well, at least Stricky's handsome face. So. The face of a Ford Mustang, 68 Ford Mustang.
Or a 69 Chevelle.
And also the Ford Pinto. But hey,
we're back.
It's sour grapes, except it might be sour beans after you probably Pinto.
Well, I'm glad that you guys didn't get to see my sour face with this L that I just took on Shootout with Strick, but that's okay. We're back after the math. I got a smile on my face. I just had to go drown in my sorrows for a second. But I don't have to worry too much about that because it is Thirsty Thursday. You know, I'll have one of them real soon. That part.
Indeed. Uncle Kevin Meyer coming in here in just a little bit. Well, Stricky, the other thing that we have to give away, aside from the $30 in Buffalo Wings Ring, which does go to Jeremy. Jeremy on the text line, you were texter number 5 with the right answer. It is a push of Strick's answer of 12 Big Ten teams in the postseason. So, Jeremy, congrats on the $30 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. You win that. We also have some Beatrice Bakery to give away. This holiday season, we're partnering with Beatrice Bakery for some holiday cake giving. Tune into your favorite 93.7 The Ticket shows all holiday season and nominate people or organizations that you believe are in need of some delicious cakes courtesy of Beatrice Bakery. Here's what I'm going to do for this giveaway. If you're like me, you get nominated to bring dessert, right? You have your family giving on Christmas Eve, the weekend before, weekend after, whatever it is, and you're being asked to bring dessert. Guess what? If you tell me it's your job to bring dessert, you can win the fruit cake. Tell me who you're bringing it for. Tell me what cake you want. I don't know exactly what the giveaway entails, but we will find a way to at least kickstart you on your way to bringing dessert, courtesy of our friends at Beatrice Bakery. 402-464-5685, the number for the nominations for that. All right, Stricky. We had this question on the text line a couple days ago. We didn't get a chance to get to it yesterday. But I do still think it's a worthwhile question to get to. The texter, I didn't write the name down, didn't write the number down, and forget who it is. But if it was you, feel free to chime in and let us know it was you. Was simply, has Matt Rhule met expectations so far? Has Matt Rhule met expectations so far at Nebraska?
You asking me?
I'm asking you. What
I don't
do you
want to answer that. I plead the fifth.
Well, we can break it down. We can break it down.
I'm playing like
break it down.
Marshawn Lynch right now. I'm only here so I don't get fined. No, I'm just playing.
Want me to break it down? Take it piece by piece?
Yeah, let's break it down. Again, I think it's relative, and for me, just in an overall man, I think it's relative. I can't say that it is bad. I think that he did bring the program and elevate it. It's to where part of their goals are, but I think there's disappointment too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's disappointment and there's a little weariness by the fact that a couple of times now you're literally just the way that it felt to me, Austin, it felt like it was your first time going cliff diving. You stood at the edge. We won't even just say it's cliff diving, it's bungee jumping, it's whatever that thing is that you're looking over the edge of it and you're just like, I want to jump, but and
can I, but should I?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And diving in is to do something over and above of what your body or your mind would want to do, and you just can't do it.
Exceed your limits. Find a way to push through.
You just can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think the disappointment comes, is from that. Where a couple years now, you could have done something, and then it's the issues internally by who you have. Like, let me just, I can say about this way. The first year, you bet on Jeff Sims being your guy, was not it. Had to rely on a young, mechanically unsound, not there, did great things, but just wasn't there to step into that space right away. You ran off a guy that probably, he had some health issues. And we don't know if he would have been healthy or not here, but we know one thing is he can get the ball to the spot that it needed to get to by way of what he was doing with Trey Palmer. So, if you just gave him some more weapons, you probably ran him off. And then the guy you chose, right? And then, so now you kick the can down, you bring in a freshman. That's part of the kick the can down. High expectations, one of the best in the country as far as that. Has a roller coaster ride like most freshmen do. Look good early, struggle in the mid, pretty good. You miss on not having a quarterback coach initially. So your quarterback development was slow. You relied on other. So it just seems that in every phase of this whole coaching sequence, it's been some form of giving an excuse as to why you just stood at that on that platform and looked over and was like, it just seemed to always been, and it's not a manufactured excuse, it's a built-in excuse.
Yeah.
You're right. So it's just a matter for me, is there success? I think you can say, based on the trajectory of what we envisioned, slow build, foundation, but then you lose your D coordinator. And then there's questions as to the internals of it. So I think we're just at the precipice now that someone might push you off the edge. Like you're either gonna sink or you're gonna swim at this point. I know you don't want to go on this jump, but you're going. And now the people are going to start to look at you like this next year, like you better hit. Like don't stand at the plate. We're giving there's fastballs coming right down the middle. You better you know it's coming. You better hit. Because if you don't, I think there's going to be major questions that he's going to have to deal with.
I think that's fair. I'll break it down a couple different ways. Internally, I don't know if we know what Nebraska's expectations truly were, right? If Matt Rhule had to take, Truth Potion or whatever, what would he have told you his expectations were for his program in year two, right? I'm not going to say Matt Rhule lied when he talked about what he wanted to accomplish, right? That's all fine and well. I'll take his word for it. But was Matt Rhule saying what he actually felt? Was he saying what he felt he needed to say? I don't know. I don't know what Nebraska's coaching staff, led by Matt Rhule, expected after 2 years, where they expected this program to be. Matt Rhule says they're making strides. Okay, have they made the strides he wanted them to? In some areas, maybe. In other areas, maybe not. I mean, obviously, the offense, that's why he made the moves that he did. Troy Dannon, what were his expectations for Nebraska? We don't know necessarily, right? He'll say something, he'll allude to it, but we don't have hard, outright expectations, which, hey, we don't know if it's Scott Frost, right? Maybe don't write these things down. And that's okay, right? It's not necessarily our job to know what the internal expectations are. Has Nebraska met external expectations, Strick? That's also interesting to think about. When I say external, I don't just mean fans. I mean nationally. When people look at Nebraska and they think about Nebraska under Matt Rhule, is Nebraska where they thought Nebraska would be in year two of this coaching staff? I would say it's in the realm of where people expected, right? Year 1, 5-7, no bowl game. Okay, first year transition, new coach, whatever, fine, we'll give you this one. Year 2, okay, they made it back to a bowl game. I don't think people are diving into the specifics of Nebraska as much as we are, obviously, right, from a national sense. So I think big picture, people say, yeah, Nebraska's probably on pace. But I would say, even if that can be true, that to the outside world, to a neutral observer, that, hey, Nebraska got back to a bowl game, looks like this whole Matt Rhule hire thing is working out. The reason I think some Husker fans would say yes and or yes but is that the only thing stopping Nebraska from a bowl game in year 1 was Nebraska. Winless in November. Drop the ball against Michigan State. lead against Maryland, can't close, lead against Wisconsin by 2 touchdowns and can't close, and then choke it away against Iowa, right? You had 4 chances to get to a bowl game in year 1 and be ahead of schedule. You didn't do it. Put a lot more pressure on this year because, like you said, Nebraska got up to the cliff and then backed away. They weren't willing to take that dive into that next step. And then this year, Nebraska starts 5-1 against that runway. Okay, maybe it would have been tougher than we thought before the year to beat Indiana. Fine, you lose that one. Fine, you lose to Ohio State. You get to the same 5-3 mark you were last year. Not necessarily a step forward, but okay, Indiana popped up when you didn't expect them to. Illinois was really good to begin the year, and you lost to Ohio State. Not a whole lot of shame in that. You'd like to find a way to beat Illinois at home, but guess what? You lose games in college football. Losing the way they did to UCLA probably should have been erased from this program in year 2. USC, you're 1 or 2 plays away. And I get it. Little things pop up. I get why you stick with Tommy Hill. But you got to start making the tough decisions, right? Before they come back to bite you. Be proactive, not reactive. Then luckily you have another chance to get on the board against Wisconsin, and then they get it done at home before ultimately losing to Iowa in a game that Nebraska led 10-0. So I would say externally, to the majority of college football observers, Nebraska's probably on pace with what people anticipated under Matt Rhule. But inside the state's boundaries, inside Husker land, it probably feels like, okay, we'll grant you that we're maybe where we're supposed to be, but it's still a little painful because it was so easy to envision so much more without much having to change.
Yeah. And the when you look at it, like Scott and Bancroft is now starting. This is what I believe people are starting to say. Matt is a good talker. Like, I didn't believe that coming in to start. I actually thought he wasn't a coach speak type of guy. But guys like Scott from Bancroft is starting to say, he's a good talker. Carrie Budd and on the Sauter Heyman text line says, I always bring fruit, cheese, and crackers and dessert. That's something else, but I want to use it because you've talked about what you wanted to bring to the table. And you talked about stability. You talked about foundation. You talked all these different things, right? You talked about what you're bringing to the dinner table. And it just seems like you showed up and you've got some crackers, but we asked for Ritz instead of saltine. Yeah, you got some cheese, but it's partially molded.
It's not supposed to be.
Then it's not supposed to be, right? So there's good about it. Yes, it's looking like it, but there's some things that if it's not corrected or it's not dealt with, and I like what you said, it's not proactively handled, you will misstep. And you ever watched what's that show? Big Balls? Pause.
The Sam Cassell show?
No, the show where they running the little
Wipeout?
Wipeout.
Oh yeah. Played the Wii video game Wipeout too.
Okay. That's
or
what
is it kinetic? Either way.
That's what it feels like. We're on the verge of if these things are corrected. It's kind of like there's those times where you think you're good on the platform, and then the freaking hammer slams you in the back, and it throws you all into the water. You weren't expecting it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like. It feels like a wipeout, just lying in wait. But we're going to see if they're going to be able to overcome it.
Yeah.
Because now you got new staff. Now, if the defensive line doesn't show up, oh no, we lost. We lost a good one in Knighton. You know what I mean? The defense is struggling. Yeah, it's tough to lose and to change, and the terminology and the adjustments coming off of and you've recruited for a Tony White defense, and there's another kick down the can.
Right.
Yeah, there's just all these little things that could pop into it to make it a little bit different, which why I say wipeout sets itself up for a wipeout.
Mm-hmm. Couple more areas I think we can look at here, Stricky. Recruiting. Is Matt Rhule recruiting the way that you thought he would be in year 2?
I think so. I think, some of the hirings that have helped to draw in, think some of the talent levels going into places that you've gotten into before, but probably a little bit unusual for this time. Now we're just going to see on the interior, because it needs to be on the interior of this defense. And I like the linebackers they brought in. I think it's a good little foundation. Again, I think the key for me is always going to be some form of retention. You're going to have to bring this talent and figure out a way to keep them here. If you're going to be the type of building that you've shown us, or you've told us that you're going to do, that's got to be a part of it, man. Your vision's got to be great for now. All teams are going to have some form of turnover, but key components can't be turning over. You're going to have to, I think you're going to have to recruit, we're going to need secondary, interior D, and the replacements of some ends. What is the D going to be? Pause. What is it going to be? We still don't know. What we know, it's going to have to be some form of similarity to what has been there. You can't turn it over. You might throw some wrinkles into it, but you got to kind of have the same flow of what it has been until you figure out, what it's going to be going into next year. And that's the problem with recruiting, because do you know? I'm sure you do, but you're going to have to recruit to it. But then does it fit with what you've got already? And you've already recruited, right? So there's still work to be done, man. So it's going to be something to keep your eyes on throughout this off season.
I think it's interesting, Strick, when we talk about recruiting and if Matt Rhule's meeting expectations, Huskers are pretty much right where they've always been, right? Top 25 class, borderline top 25, right? Anywhere between 20th and 30th is kind of where Nebraska's been, and that's where they've been with Matt Rhule right now. One way you could say that he's improved it is, when's the last time Nebraska landed a 5-star quarterback? Got to go back to Tommy Frazier, right? Arguably. I don't know if that was before the star system, but that caliber of recruit, that level of national attention, you got to go back that far. Other guys didn't do that in Nebraska. That tells you, was it a layup? Yes and no, right? We all know everything that went into getting Dylan Rhule to campus and keeping him here for his sophomore year, at least to this point. Nebraska's knocked on the door and had good conversations with a lot of other people, right? I mean, look at like Brandon Baker, a guy we talked a lot about. Defensive linemen, wide receivers. There have been conversations with high-level prospects. Sure, previous coaches had. I don't know if Matt Rhule's had more or less of them, but I do think that overall, recruiting is probably where it should be, with maybe a little bonus pat on the back or gold star for Dylan Rhule. Now I'm curious to see if Matt Rhule can take it to the next level, right? Can Nebraska start bringing in more than just the homegrown or attachments back here 5-stars, if you can get the outside ones to come? And that'll start with winning. It absolutely always does. Development, Strick. It's only been 2 years, right? When you think about development projects and players, I should say, they probably take more than 2 years. But Matt Rhule says he and his staff pride himself on being a developmental program. Reiterated that multiple times today. Where are you? Has Matt Rhule met expectations when it comes to roster development?
I'm a little out on that one right now.
Okay.
I'm a little out on that one. I'm going to say no. I think Nash was a kind of an unsung type of elevation, but
he was a 4-star.
I'm saying as far as development.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think so. Here's my thing. I think Ty Robinson wasn't probably where they thought he could be, but I think he did do good. He looked good. He was good.
He was good.
Can you say in the cornerback position? I think like Hartzog, I think the changes and the adjustments, I think the injury. So it's tough to evaluate that situation. I think the safety situation is pretty stable. I think that was okay. Bullock, I think, did very well as far as the linebackers are concerned. I'm going to be a little
even
bit.
Bayer was barely a special teams guy last year.
But then you had a top tier guy. You never really felt that MJ Sherman maximized himself. Some of the DNs, there was a lot of inconsistencies there. You can't really say in any position. I think the offensive line, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there was a downgrade on the wide receiver core. And I think it was just an identification on what you wanted stylistically for the running back situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not there. I'm not there yet. I'm still a little bit out, but there's still probably more I want to see. I think they recruited well. I think bringing in Mazuka and those guys. I think you did okay with Ben Scott. That was solid. But now, where are you gonna go? What's behind it? What are those guys? Lutovsky, I think, came along a little bit, but can they go to another level? Is the staff ready to take this team in that aspect of development to another level? We just haven't seen it outside of the athleticism of Emmett Johnson.
I don't want to put words in your mouth. I just want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly. You're saying development is not where you want it to be because you expected to see a little bit more development across the board?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what I'm going to say is I think the guys that are there, it wasn't enough time for them to get. Now that this younger crew has been within under your tutelage, now what are they going to look like? Is someone going to emerge? Are they going to be solid? Are you going to regress? Now we'll be able to, I think, really see, because did you recruit to fill those voids knowing what was coming? Who's going to be ready to step in and do that? And can somebody go and take it to another level? That's what we're going to have to wait and see.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that to judge a developmental program, I think you really do need 3 years, right? Especially when you look at the other programs that you hold to that development standard, right? The one across the river in Iowa developmental program, not a lot of freshmen, sophomores on the field for them. It's a lot of redshirt sophomores and juniors, right? It's 3 years. I still think I don't say Iowa's the model, but I still think 3 years is probably fair to determine, which is where I give them credit for a John Bullock. I give them credit for getting anything out of Mekhi Bayer, who hadn't played, for turning Isaac Gifford into basically an every down player. Even Tommy Hill, right? That was a guy without a home, without a position, up and down this year, but certainly more productive these last 2 years than he was his first couple of years in college. Do you give them credit for developing Sierra Wright, or is he just a plug and play guy? I don't know. Justin Evans played. Henry Lutovsky played more than he ever had this year, right? Bryce Benhart got better. Absolutely got better. Nate Borgercher, Luke Lindenmeyer, guys we hadn't heard of, played roles for this team. So I would say it's trending the right direction, but I do think, Strick, next year in year 3, that'll be the true test. Who are the guys that Matt Rhule brought in year 1, or who are guys that he brought in before year 2 that might be a year ahead of schedule, that are ready to play, that are developing maybe quicker than we anticipated? That, to me, will be the true test. You guys are going nuts on the text line. We'll go to break. When we get back, we'll reply to some of those and also hear from Matt Rhule. A couple interesting things out of the head coach's mouth at his press conference today when we get back to On the Block.
Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
League One Volleyball is coming to Omaha this January. Featuring Olympic medalist Jordan Larson and Justine Wong-Arantes, Love Omaha Volleyball is Omaha's newest pro team. The inaugural season will showcase some of the world's best volleyball players, from medalists to NCAA champions and international superstars, with the action kicking off on January 24th at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Visit LOVB.com for more information and to purchase tickets. Volleyball is the next major league.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Are you or someone you love struggling with substance use? The Bridge Behavioral Health in Lincoln offers outpatient therapy for those 19 and over. The Bridge is conveniently located in the South Haymarket and near city bus lines. With payment options through insurance and a sliding fee scale, services are available for any adult 19 and over seeking help. Call 402-477-3951 to learn more or schedule your appointment today. The Bridge Behavioral Health is a local substance use treatment facility offering hope and a solid foundation for recovery through substance use treatment and behavioral health interventions.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Greens at 402-467-4444 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-4444.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back on Block Off. Norman and Eric Strickland with you again. Appreciate all your thoughts on the text line. We'll keep getting to some of those here throughout the last 25 minutes or so of the show. Lots to get to, though, from Matt Rhule. Strick, one of the first things that he mentioned. Let's see. There's a lot from Matt Rhule here. Let's start with this, Strick. He's something that you've been on the fence, not really on the fence about, but beating the drum for. Heinrich Haarberg. Here's Matt Rhule addressing Heinrich Haarberg's future with Nebraska football.
Yeah, he'll still be available as a quarterback in the bowl game, but Jalen's been working as a number 2 quarterback, and Heinrich's been pretty much full steam ahead, getting ready for next year and being sort of like that FY tight end type guy. He's probably one of the best athletes I've ever had a chance to coach. I mean, he's big, he's explosive, he's athletic, he can catch the ball, he's really smart. Heinrich can go out there, he can play tailback on one play and play X receiver on the next in terms of knowing what to do. I'm not saying all those are specific to his skill set. So, but like I said, with a play designer like Dana, I think guys who can run and catch and block, they can do it. And so I think he's gonna have a real chance there.
So the issue that I have with that is, Austin, you have a pretty good memory, but I know can remember that I talked way back in spring about this, and so I'm not even a football
even last
guy.
year.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, even last year I said, man, listen, he should be trying to switch positions. And I said, if I was him, I'd be trying to do it going into this year. Because really, I see him as a potential of like a Brock Bowers.
Ooh.
Like he's that good of an athlete.
Ooh.
Actually, like that's how I envision. Like if he would have embraced it and really went in, and he could have been a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
they got there.
If he had the time, they finally got there.
They got to the decision.
But I say if he would have had the time and you weigh the scales, I would have much rather had him than Fedoni.
Well, again, Strick, we can also see a flashback to the previous staff, to Luke McCaffrey. Make the hard decision early.
That part.
Give the young men a plan, right? It's great if they want to try it, but if you think you are right that they're not a quarterback, say, no, you have a future here. Now, again, maybe they made the right decision with Heinrich Haarberg. Maybe he has a big year next year. Good. Great for the program. Good for him. It's going to be hard for him to get an NFL look with 1 year of tight end experience.
Yeah.
If you'd come up with a plan to say, hey, here's how we get you 3 years of tight end experience, you can be a good one in the NFL, that's going to do so much for you in recruiting. When you accurately identify what a guy is and what he can be, right? Okay, he wants to try quarterback, try it in spring. Well, hey, sorry, you got beat up by these two guys. We got a fourth string guy that we think we won't need a third string, so go play tight end. That helps wonders in recruiting. At least they got there, I guess. I don't know.
Gotcha. I love what he said, but I just hate that it took this long to get to that point, because I would have much rather thrown Kalen in that backup role, and in the times that he had an opportunity to get in and get his feet wet, you could have done that, and maybe you retain him.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe not, but you don't know now. Now, again, I think Kalen's looking at it. You got Latif coming in. You've got another Rhule following potentially behind that. I just think he felt that, it was going to be a continuous uphill battle for him. And so he wanted to go in and look elsewhere. So I'm not mad at that, but I am, again, I'm just have a little bit of apprehension about the time it takes to get there. Be more proactive, as my partner said, as opposed to reactive. And I think that's a reactive move. I think they should have did it earlier.
Breaking news, Williams Nwaneri committed to Nebraska. Officially entered the portal today with the do not contact tag. He is in. He is an edge player, probably on the defensive line. Could also play the jack position if Nebraska keeps the 3-3-5. Stricky, one of the highest rated recruits in Husker history.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. I hand clap on that. That's a big one. That's a good one. Now you're just hoping that can be there's a lot of freshman impact players. You're just hoping that obviously there's a difference on the defensive side, especially at that position. But again, if you start him at the jack and build him up to that edge rush position, but I love his footwork. I love, his motor. Yeah, it's a good one.
Mm-hmm. His defensive coordinator will be John Butler. Matt Rhule was asked how he came to the decision to hire John Butler. Here's what Matt Rhule had to say.
Yeah, it was very, very, very methodical. I talked to John about his vision. I interviewed probably 6 people. There were a lot of parameters to me that mattered. The least of which was the optics. I was like, I didn't care about making a splash or anything like that. I wanted to make the right decision. As I've said, Coach Kevin McGarry, who's been here the last couple of years, I think he told one of the candidates, that coming here is like is a defensive coordinator's dream. We practice a certain way, we play a certain way. So I wanted to get the right person. I talked to a lot of great candidates. There was a ton of interest from sitting defensive coordinators. But I thought I really like what we've done the last 2 years. I thought we maybe took a step back defensively a little bit this year in some areas. But I like what we've done. I like the overall general philosophy. And so, but to win moving forward, and this is something that, a mentor of mine, Phil Snow, said to me. He said, Matt, to win moving forward, the things we're doing, the havoc that we're creating is great on, third down, to be first and second down. To be great moving forward on third down, some of the some of the stuff that we've done in the NFL, you know, third down packages, second and long packages versus the teams who can really throw it. Like, you know, we can go out, we played good against Iowa, but, you know, Iowa's a running team, you know, to be able to stop the offenses that we're going to need to stop that can drop back and spin the ball. We're going to need some advanced, I think, defense on third down, 2-minute red zone. And as I went through that, you know, John had the top secondary in the NFL for 5 years. There was a lot of outpouring from our current players, guys I really respect. And, you know, I'm not going to make that decision because of that, but I think they felt like some of the current guys in the secondary felt like after 3 or 4 years in college, John had brought a professionalism and a next level mentality to them that they thought was going to prepare them for the next level. Some of them had no business, you know, they're leaving, so they didn't have to say that to me. So I think it was just a combination of who can add to what we're already doing at a high level, who can bring some things secondary wise to really help us. And after working with John for a year, I thought he was really, really professional, really good to work with, great evaluator, and excited for him.
What stands out when you hear that, Stricky?
Professionalism and next level. If you're going to be a foundational building, those are the things that you definitely want to have implemented into your program is the ability to identify, create a culture of because that's what it's designed. That's what I've got to give credit to certain coaches in my life for what they were able to do for me. And one of those is definitely Lanny Richards. Lanny Richards, my high school coach, was just one of the ones that taught me about preparation, work ethic, professionalism. One of my mentors was Derek Harper. Taught me how to be a true pro in the approach to the game. Sometimes not always coaches, sometimes it's a player. But yeah, I like that part of it because that's what you want to have. You want to have an about that. I think that's what was lacking in Nebraska for me a lot of the times. It just didn't seem like their mental approach was about business. And if college football is going to have a business centric type of flow to it now, you want people that understand that part of it as well. And this is why I think Bill Belichick's going to be well. That's why I think he's going to do well. You know, if he hires the right people, definitely the hiring is going to be the need, because I think for some reason it feels like college is shifting.
Yeah.
And so,
yes, it is.
I mean, I'm talking about all facets of sport. It's shifting. So
I'm with you. Professionalism definitely stood out to me as well. But the other thing I would say stood out to me, Strick, was two things. Number one, Rhule said the defense took a step back this year. I don't want to say that's a shot at Tony White, but I think maybe veiled, right? Either the players weren't professional enough, right, to find a way to push forward, or the defensive coordinators / their position coaches didn't find a way to bring more out of them. It wasn't a huge step back for Nebraska. We went over the numbers not long ago, but they didn't necessarily get better. It was pretty much a plateau from the defense. So that stood out to me, but also right in the middle of that quote, to stop the offenses, we're going to need to be able to stop. It sounded like a big picture move from Matt Rhule to hire John Butler, right? You mentioned Iowa, right? Yeah, we did a good job stopping Iowa, but they're a running team. Matt Rhule thinks, at least this quote reads to me, or sounds to me, like Matt Rhule thinks John Butler's the defensive coordinator of the future, right? Of the present. Obviously, he just hired him, officially promoted him. But that he thinks John Butler is going to stick around for a while or install a scheme that will get Nebraska playing defense against, would you say, elite passing teams. Indiana threw the ball this year, the way Ohio State can traditionally throw the ball with their quarterbacks and wide receivers. Look at, I think that was brought up today, I think every team in the college football playoff was in the top 30 of scoring offense, right? You can do it by running, much easier to do by passing. I don't know if John Butler's going to be around that long. He wanted to be a DC again, but again, this is a guy with some college ties, but was a successful NFL guy. John Butler said as much today was part of the reason he moved on from Buffalo is that he felt he was the guy that deserved the promotion to Buffalo's defensive coordinator position. He didn't get it and said, yep, okay, I'm going to go coordinate a defense somewhere someday. Thought Nebraska gave him the path to do that. If he's successful at Nebraska, maybe he sticks around, but I think John Butler's the guy that ambitious. I think he's going to be looking for that next opportunity. So it's great that Matt Rhule thinks he's going to be the big picture guy to put the scheme in place. But who's next, right? Who's after John Butler, that if the coach, gets a good setup, who's going to take the torch from him and keep that going at the highest level of competition? This wasn't a win the Big Ten West move. There is no Big Ten West anymore. This was a win the Big Ten move. We got to be able to stop Dylan Gabriel to Tez Johnson. We got to be able to stop whoever on Ohio State to Carnell Tate or Jeremiah Smith, for example. That really stood out to me.
You're also, you got to think about it, that Snow is, as he stated in that soundbite, that Snow is also an associate head coach. And I saw some people ask the question on the Saturday Morning text line about that as well, but he is someone that could be a filler if need be.
Yeah.
So you do have that in case the ambition of Coach Butler does well up and he decides to vacate. You do have someone who understands the mind of Rhule and what he's trying to accomplish that could shift over into it if he needs to. So
we told text line we would play that clip, so we won't play the whole thing, but here's at least the very beginning. Matt Rhule was asked about what Phil Snow will bring to the table in his role as associate head coach.
Well, he's not officially hired, so I can't really talk about him. What I will say is if I did hire someone in a sort of like a elder statesman role, like some of the, I talked to a Hall of Fame coach and he talked to me about having someone like that. And, John's been a coordinator before. John needs no help. I don't believe that, but I do think in today's college football, when you're like looking around, this job as a head coach is a juggernaut. There's way more to do here than I had to do in the NFL. And so having someone over there on defense, seeing the big picture, whether it's portal evaluations or evaluating your own guys or making sure at the end of the day, we're still doing the old school fundamentals of running to the ball and running to the ball and tackling. I thought our tackling has fallen off this year. I don't think we played as hard this year running to the balls maybe we had the year before in some areas. And so I want someone, kind of a big picture person that can help and assist in those areas.
That's just the start of the quote. He went on for another minute and a half or so on it. But that's kind of what Matt Rhule envisions an associate head coach, assuming that'll be Phil Snow sooner than later, doing for him.
Yeah, and I agree. I think the landscape of college football coaching is huge now. There's so many responsibilities outside of what they used to be, and you just have to.
It's a juggernaut. It's a RICO.
It's a RICO. You have to decide where you want to distribute and apply some of those budgetary funds. And if you feel you can spread it out or people can do multiple parts of that, then okay, that's fine. But it's a lot. It's a lot, man. And I don't wish it upon anybody, but I know that I can understand it as to why.
And that's what Bill Belichick jumped back into. So fascinating. Jay Foreman's here. We got a crossover. And hey, guess what? We got a sponsor for the crossover. We're going to have a catchy name for it coming up soon. We'll tell you about the sponsor of our crossover. We'll have some fun with it with Jay when we get back.
Follow Austin, Strick, and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Join us for Old School this Friday, December 13th at Salt and Mine City, Lincoln's newest brewery at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Enjoy their great beer selection as you pregame for the Nebraska-Indiana men's basketball game at Pinnacle Bank Arena at 7 o'clock. That's Old School this Friday at Salt and Mine City at 8th and R.
It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier Kawasaki dealership. Score big on Kawasaki's all-new Ridge lineup. The Ridge XR, Ridge HVAC, and the Ridge Limited, all built to take on your day with a full factory cab, including heat and AC. Stop by Indian Motorcycle of Lincoln today and rule the streets on an Indian motorcycle with customer cash and trade-in credits up to $2,000 during the month of December. Save big on their massive selection of side-by-sides, all-terrain vehicles, motorcycles, and power watercraft on end-of-the-year specials store-wide at their new 27th and I-80 location.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. B, that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
The Huskers are headed to the Pinstripe Bowl. Cheer on the Huskers in New York City on the official Husker Pinstripe Bowl tour offered by the Nebraska Alumni Association. Your bowl package includes a 2-night hotel stay, round-trip transportation on game day, pregame events, and more. Spots are limited, so book your spot now on the official Husker Pinstripe Bowl tour with the Nebraska Alumni Association. Go to huskerfantravel.com or call 888-831-0858. That's 888-831-0858 or huskerfantravel.com.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
Make the short drive to Pleasantdale and enjoy a great meal at the P-Dale Pub. From prime rib, patty melts, ribeyes, drink specials, and so much more, the P-Dale Pub provides a small-town feel with exceptional service and delicious food. Visit the P-Dale Pub in Pleasantdale today and watch their Facebook page each week to find out their dinner specials.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back. It is a crossover. Austin Norman, Eric Strickland, joined by Jay Foreman. Jay, welcome in.
What's happening?
Gentlemen, the crossover is sponsored. We're big time.
Yes. I know. It's finally.
The crossover is sponsored by League One Volleyball. Omaha begins their inaugural season January 24th at Liberty First Credit Union Arena in Ralston. Get your tickets online at lovb.com and see former Huskers Jordan Larson, Justine Wong-Arantes, Maddie Kubik, and Lauren Stivrins in action.
More volleyball. More volleyball. Yeah, we got to come up with opportunities. More opportunities. Yeah. But think about how crazy Nebraska volleyball is. Bellevue, runner-up. Mm-hmm. Creighton still in. Nebraska in. Concordia. There's a Scotts Bluff. Mm-hmm. UNK. Volleyball bopping.
It is
here,
for real.
All in every level. Yeah. From the junior college level all the way up.
But that's credit to the University of Nebraska, and they've really done a good job, not only with Coach Cook and staff, but the players of growing the game of volleyball. And they got great club teams. Especially around here. What does they got? Was it VCN? And then they have another. So they do a good job. They do not a good job, do a great job. Yeah. Great ambassadors, man. And they do it for the right reason.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked off air about, different sports, different club guys. It's a lot of money, but the volleyball community is definitely, at the forefront of doing it for the right reasons. And it's paying off where you're seeing the depth of volleyball throughout the surrounding, let's say 200-mile radius, 300-mile radius, all from the state of Nebraska.
Yep.
One of the discussions that we had, Jay, that I think is interesting to get your opinion on is we had a question from the text line. Has Matt Rhule met expectations? We went over internal expectations, external expectations, recruiting expectations. But the one that Strick and I had probably the best discussion on was development, right? This is a program that wants to develop.
I'm right here.
What's going on back there?
I'm looking.
Right here. It's our first love.
I got you.
Crossover. You were looking at the Tom
No, I
Ford
wasn't.
back. Yes, you were, Jay. Jay,
Okay, I'm here.
I can read your eyes.
I'm locked
you
in.
with me?
I'm locked in. Yeah, we David Goggins. I'm locked in.
Okay. In terms of, they fled it over, Jay. I need a broken eye contact. Come on now. Stay with me.
Come on, Austin. Give him a little break. All right, go ahead.
In terms of the development of the roster, through 2 years under Matt Rhule, is Nebraska's roster, and in terms of the guys who are contributing or coming along behind the scenes, is Nebraska on track in terms of wanting to be a developmental program?
Yeah, in this day and age of college football, I think they're more than on track. I think I could argue with you that they're maybe ahead of, what would that be, schedule?
Yeah.
Yeah, ahead of schedule. I think the development thing and the way that college football has changed to where, when he came in, he wanted to be, in his first press conference, and this is the way it should have been, a development program and all that, kind of a la Iowa. And then magically you knew revenue sharing and eventual contracts and employment was down the road, but now it's literally around the corner. I think how you look at development has to be different. And I look at it like this, is like, we talked about this in the pods of your roster. I think you're going to get a lot of your wins and losses, or majority of your wins and losses, out of your top 55 to 60 guys. You know what I mean? And then you have the middle guys of, I'll start at the bottom. That's where you'll have some turnover, kind of like your taxi squad or your 10-day contract in the NBA, taxi squad in the NFL. And then you'll have that also another 10, maybe 12 guys that are your development guys, and those guys now it's
Half
pressure.
the retention.
Hold on, yes, because they have to know exactly where they're coming in at.
Yep.
And some guys will develop where you want them to get in 1 year when you projected year 2 or 3. Some will take all 3 years. They have to know exactly where they're at, and it has to be a relationship. And this is why you have to have a clear path for those type of players. Actually, probably more along the lines of when I came out. Because I didn't lift weights or do anything. So I would have been one of those guys. So I have to, it's not just all the coaches do this and do that. And I take. I got to give. And that's where you can be sustainable here at a place like Nebraska, because, you're not going to be able to be like Bama and all them and just continue like this to fish with 4 and 5 stars. So that's where you have to do it. And then you can really plug holes in the middle, from your 61 on down, with portal guys that maybe still need to develop, which you expect them to be a little bit lesser than somebody out of high school. And that's where you can continue to add to your foundation as those guys graduate. Or if they feel like they want to go somewhere else, you'll be able to plug and play. That's where some of your leadership will come, right? Guys that are essentially in our age, our era, walk-ons would be there, but they'll be on scholarship. Those are your kind of nuts and bolts guys. And that's where you can continue to build a program, because you constantly want to be able to reload. And sometimes you're going to have to really, really reload, or sometimes you only have to put a couple, extra bullets in there.
Let's pause 10 quick seconds for station identification here on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
I like that. Appreciate that perspective. Now I think the next step for Nebraska is that in-season development, because think about how November's gone the last 2 years. 1-7. Matt Rhule wants to be a fourth quarter team. He wants to be a program with 75 rushing yards, fourth quarter shutouts, and all of that. We see Nebraska good at the beginning of the year, at least winning games at the beginning of the year. And maybe they're playing at the same level, but as the competition increases, the level Nebraska starts the year at isn't there. I think another part of development is, how do we anticipate and adjust what other teams are doing, the film they have on us? Development isn't just for bottom of the roster, middle of the roster, freshmen, sophomores. It's for your John Bullocks, your Isaac Giffords, your Deshaun Singletons, who have played plenty of college football. How do we get better in season, raise our level as the level of competition comes? That's development too. We need to see more of that.
Yeah, and that's more game plan. But development that's a different type of development, developing the mentality that as the stakes get higher, I'm going to continue to raise my level of play. And it's probably a little bit along the lines of, I'm going to be consistently at a higher rate than I was before. Because so that some of the things you could get away with at UTEP, maybe Northern Iowa, you ain't getting away with that against like UCLA, USC, and all that. Every play counts. That's the consistency of, whether it's pursuit drill at practice. You got to from week 1 or when it's fun in 2 days. You got to do it all in November. You got to do the things of being able to practice without pads, which they call practicing like a pro, and going through every single motion all the way up until contact and finishing a tackle. Those are the things how you're able to raise, and you call it development. I call it developing a higher level of consistency in big play or big games, and then more importantly, in the big moments. The cause and effect plays is what we really need to take care of. Though the cause and effect plays are something that we have to really, really hone in on, really, really embrace, whether it's different coverages, different fronts, or just another level of execution. Putting the whole game together is very, very important.
I think you guys are an interesting duo to ask this question to. Is that easier to do in college or in the pros?
That's a good question.
That's a really good question.
I think,
especially
with I think it's
shifted.
I think it's a little bit easier. I think it's a little bit easier.
It's tough.
It's tough, also. As I start this, I'm going back and forth. I'd probably say it's a little bit easier in the pros, but I view college football as pros now. So I think you just got to be able to, I think a lot of that has to, that's like a personal choice. It's on the player to understand that. Yes, you got to continue along in practice. I just think it's probably a little bit easier in the professional NFL just because guys know how important it is, especially when you come down the stretch. Like right now in the NFL, I'm telling you, sphincter muscles, the guys are puckered up tight because they know we make the playoffs. We can make a run in the playoffs. We can change our whole life and careers that we've never done before. So it's everything's magnified. In college, I think kids these days have I got another game. I can, because
even though they have fewer.
Yeah, even though they have fewer, but they always have another game or have another option, right?
Yeah.
Oh, if it doesn't work out here, Strick, I could go in the portal and somebody will get me.
And so that's the thing we talked about, because we were talking a little bit earlier about there was a suit. Was it a suit or was it a petition? The young man.
Oh yeah, the Michigan walk-on wrote a letter to the judge in the House versus NCAA case asking her to not make it a hard cut down to 105, but to taper it over the next few years.
So this is why.
I can understand that.
This is why, because it can literally. This to me is a subtle way of limiting the transfer portal's impacts.
Oh yeah,
as opposed to just allowing it to be a total free for all, because there's going to be there's going to be minute spaces because they're trying to figure out their development, their integration, and there's just not going to be a large swath of people in the turnover. It's going to be a smaller number. So you jumping in the portal is going to be risky as opposed to the way it is now.
Austin's been here. He's been privy to the conversation where I was telling DP about this. You guys don't know what you're getting into as far as the athletes.
Yeah.
You're not unionized. You don't know what's about to happen. These guys making these decisions have been making these type of decisions for hundreds of years, it seemed like. But they've been playing this type of business long before we as athletes, or us former, but as the athletes are in this day and age, especially they would also athletes in this day and age, they don't have self-awareness. So you don't have the self-awareness enough to understand that they are playing business, you are playing sports. That's the difference. Because like Strick said, okay, you want to be a free-for-all, you want to continue to walk up in our office and demand money, a lot of it, hold us hostage, kind of turn your nose up at our offers, right? Because not too long ago, you were just getting a $300 scholarship check right about now. Literally. During this time after Thanksgiving, stuff got real tight.
And then Buffalo and Dallas trade you away, and hey, look at this.
Right.
Business.
Right. So now what they're going to try to do, like, they can't regulate it like with a rule or a law, because it's state laws and all that. They know they can't do that. So how else to do it? Okay, well, let's put you all on scholarship. Okay. But then also now, by putting you on scholarship, now you can't hide people with NIL or the walk-on. So now we're going to see who really wants to play football, and then who really wants to train, coach, develop football.
Right.
That's why I think if done right, And if everything goes according to plan, it could work out better for a team like Nebraska, where if you have a detailed plan on how to develop, you have, better NIL structure, get that stuff going, and then incentive not to move all the time. So you won't have an offseason like this potentially. Even if you go 6-6, you won't have it, because you know what? Then you'll have some self-reflection. What can we do better individually and as a group, linebackers, so we are not 6-6? Instead of, okay, I did okay. Doesn't matter how bad I played. I at least played decent. So let me go out there and fish and see what I got. Bye.
That part.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Go figure it out.
Bye.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
End up at South Salukis.
Or you go in and you go to, you got guys getting Missouri or something, Kansas State looking at them. Oh, okay, see you waving at you from across the street. Now, mind you, 18 months ago, 15 months ago, if we went to the 105, some of those same players wouldn't be on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
It's that old saying, how soon they forget. Well, since you forget so quickly, we're going to make sure we in your memory now.
Yeah, it is.
So now, even when we're talking amongst players, you make the wrong decision. Me and Austin get to see how you didn't make the right decision. We have our conversation. Hey, Strick, he's out in the wasteland.
Right.
He's cold. We don't want to be like that. And that's the only way you're going to be able to do it, because you're not going to be able to regulate NIL that much.
Nope.
And you're not going to be able to regulate transfer portal unless you put some limits on it.
Love it. That's been a good
Collateral
crossover.
damage.
Thanks again to League One Volleyball for their sponsorship of the crossover. Season has first started January 24th at Liberty First Credit
I'll be in the
Arena
building.
in Ralston. Tickets available for you at lovb.com. See former Huskers Jordan Larson, Justine Wong-Arantes, Maddie Kubik, and Lauren Stivrins in action. Thanks to Nebco for sponsoring the show. We're going to get out of here when we get back. It's Old School, kicked off with Kevin Meyer of Myers Pork and Bottle for Thirsty Thursday.
Wilbur Claytonia Schools, home of the Wolverines, reminds every motorist that students will soon be out of school for holiday break. Give those kids a break, spelled B-R-A-K-E. Drive at sensible, safe speeds, and while driving, stay off your cell phone. Remember, most accidents occur in parking lots, so avoid the holiday rush when behind the wheel. Over 600 students are enrolled at Wilbur Claytonia Schools, an equal opportunity education provider. Check out their website at wilburclaytonia.org for their school calendar. And in the hustle and bustle, please consider a small donation of toys to your local donation centers.
The Huskers are headed to the Pinstripe